We're back with Stuart Varney and Daniel Hannan, the author of The New Road to Serfdom. We want to go to Don, who has a question on how do we get out of this mess.
Well, thank you, Glenn. You know, our countries, China and America, are inextricably linked now economically. What's going to happen when the Chinese auto worker realizes that he doesn't have health insurance, but the fruits of his labor, his country is loaning to the U.S. so that the UAW worker can have his health insurance?
I don't think that health insurance for the UAW worker is going to, I think the standard of living in America, if the globalists have their way, is going to come way down. But I talked to a friend in China who says China is afraid of instability as much as we are. When the Chinese worker realizes, wait, people are getting rich off my back, and if we organize, we have an awful lot of power, that changes the world, does it not?
There's a deal in China. We'll keep quiet. We, the workers, will keep quiet. And you can keep your position as communist rulers of this country.
Right.
In return, you keep us getting more and more prosperous.
Right.
If that deal breaks up, the political deal breaks up.
I've talked to a guy who does a lot of work over in China, and it is, they're building one factory and everybody gets $1.50 an hour, and then when they start to say, wait a minute, the Chinese build another factory in another province for $1.50 an hour and give these guys $5 an hour, which keeps them quiet and they're happy. They eventually will run out of provinces, but that'll take about 5,000 years. George, go ahead.
My wife, Beth, is a career firefighter in the state of New Jersey, and currently their pension fund is $180 billion in the hole. Currently, the new governor, Chris Christie, who was elected, is working his butt off to try to fix that. But how do we fix that and keep that fixed and globalize at the same time?
Those promises that were made cannot be paid. They cannot be fulfilled. You're talking about far too much money. One of several things will have to happen. Either the pension benefits will be cut back dramatically, or there will be enormous cuts in social services in the state of New Jersey so that those pensions can be paid, or the federal government steps in with a bailout of some sort. One of those three things has to happen.
One of those three things is the only one that can happen, and sanity. It requires the union members, not the union leaders, because they'll never get it, just like the politicians. The union members to find a politician like George Washington that they trust, that can say, okay, this guy isn't trying to screw me, that can also broker a deal with the politicians and say, look, we know. So we can have our jobs, and we can have a little bit for those who are right at the edge of retirement, who can't work anymore. And let's take care of the people who are the neediest. But unfortunately, all those promises are going to have to be broken. And it's going to require the union members, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to require the union members to, man, swallow hard, because you've been lied to and screwed. And swallow hard and say, okay. But that's going to happen with all of us, If anybody thinks it's just the union workers, all of us are going to get hit hard. Our lives are going to change. But that's why I go back to this first question. Who are we? Are we people that say, no, I want mine? Or are we the people that say, okay, crap, like the founders, I will do the right thing. I will do the really hard thing, so my children have the opportunity to create and be free. Back in a minute. We're just talking about being honest about pensions and everything else. And here's a guy who's with the EU and in England. And what did you say about...
I'm pretty unusual for a member of the European
Parliament.
I know that. Any fellow members of the European Parliament who are now shaking their heads in horror. But no, from what I've seen of him, I think Governor Christie is exactly the kind of politician that the founders envisaged. He tells the truth, he doesn't hide, and he takes his oath of office seriously. And
from New York. Good night, America.